Let's travel back in time, over 1,000 years ago, when settlers made their way to the remote island of Iceland. Among the many things they brought with them was the unique Skyr, which was known in the Nordic countries at that time. Milk products that are made in a similar way can be found in other countries. Icelanders managed to preserve the method of making Skyr and passed it on from generation to generation, and that makes the Icelandic Skyr one of a kind. Skyr has been a staple of Icelandic diets ever since and still is. It is often compared to yogurt, but here comes the surprise: Skyr is actually cheese. Like many traditional foods worldwide, food preservation methods lead to traditional dishes. In the early days, Icelandic farmers made Skyr to help preserve milk for longer periods. With Iceland's harsh winters and limited food resources, having a nutritious, long-lasting product like Skyr was essential. Families would make it in large batches, using wooden barrels or clay pots to store it. It is almost sure that each farm did have their own unique bacteria to ferment their Skyr. This means that the Skyr was not exactly the same from farm to farm. Older writings mention Skyr as a drink, but also mention thicker Skyr in sacks, and that is more like what we know today, but without any sweeteners, which must have made the Skyr a sour product. The original Skyr was likely made from sheep milk, but today we are most familiar with the version from cow's milk. With industrial production starting in the 20th century, processing of Skyr has gradually changed to meet mass production and consumers' preferences that often require sweetness over sourness. Butter is another product made on farms and was valuable like all food to the settlers and generations to come. The butter had the status of luxury and the Skyr was the food of the poor. But now we know that because of the high protein content of Skyr, it gave the energy needed to survive and to manage the hard work on the farms. The women were the ones making Skyr, butter and more products from the milk like cream, cheese, sour milk and skim milk. There is a saying that the kings of Denmark and Norway collected butter from the peasants in Iceland. The butter was a tax, and the wealthy men, the magistrates and priests, always received the butter as rent for the land, and that's why they became so fat and well-rounded, while the common people had to make do with eating Skyr. No one could understand why the common folk were so strong and healthy, but it was simply because of the protein in the Skyr. The Icelandic cow is a breed mostly unchanged from the time of the first settlers, and everything they gave was used milk and meat for consumption, and skin for cloths, and as material for writing on, most notably the Icelandic sagas. It is not uncommon that the farmers give each and every one of their cows a name. The red one might be Raudka, and the one with the spots Skjalda. It is not long ago since it was possible to find people hand milking their cows for production purposes. With enhanced technology, the milking process has developed a lot. The first milking machine was used in America in 1862. During the year 1960, a pipeline system was introduced as a part of the milking process and milk's handling. The breakthrough with this solution is that the milk is contained in the system all the way from the cow to the milk tank. Today, many milk farms have a system where the cows walk freely, and when they are ready they walk into the milking booth twice a day, in the morning and evening. The working conditions in this milk house is far better than with the previous system. It is also easier to monitor the milk each cow is giving. The newest solution is a milking robot introduced for the first time in Iceland in 1999. We met Björnes Gunnarsson, product developer at Mjólkursamsalan, or MS, the biggest producer of milk products in Iceland. The company is owned by 600 farmers around Iceland that also provide the milk for the production of milk products. The milk is transported from the farms in milk trucks and brought to the milk factory. There, the milk is heated and homogenized to break down the fat particles in the milk. Then, the milk goes into milk cartons or into products like cheese and Skyr, to mention a few. The milk factory has produced Skyr for almost 100 years. Now, Skyr is transported all over the world, and 150,000 units of Skyr are transported to Swiss weekly, and the same quantity to other countries. Many different types of cultured or fermented milk products can be found in the world, and it is likely that you have your favourite yogurt, cheese, or milk. The Icelandic Skyr is known today because of its high protein content, rich texture, and nutritional benefits. Whether eaten as a snack, used in smoothies, or served with fruit, Skyr remains as important to Icelandic culture today as it was 1,000 years ago. So, how is Skyr made today? Well, the process hasn't changed all that much from Viking times. It all starts with fresh milk from Icelandic cows. The cows live on family farms that provide the milk we need to make Skyr. We have now learned the history behind the Skyr. And in the next part, we will see how Skyr is made at Erpstadir in Iceland.